This week on Modern Broadcast, let's talk about joysticks. Hello and welcome to Modern Broadcast. Now in today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at the Nintendo Switch, and more specifically, we're going to be taking a look at Joycon Drift. So what is Joycon Drift? Joycon Drift is when you are not pushing a button, the Joy-Con goes in a direction. So as we see here, I can force it to be in the middle, but as soon as I let go, it goes into the top left. And Joycon Drift has been a known thing for, since the Nintendo Switch came out. My Nintendo Switch has suffered the same fate, so we're gonna go ahead and open up our Joy-Con, get that problem resolved. Alright, so here we have the Ghoulie Kit, I think is how that's pronounced. So this is Hall Sensing joysticks for Joy-Con. And the thing with Hall Sensing is supposed to be way better than what your standard joysticks and Joy-Cons are made out of. Really make it to where that drift shouldn't happen again. This also, this little kit here, should have everything that we need to get this job done. I did pick up this little kit from Amazon, and I'll have a link down in the description below. Taking our handy dandy kniff here, I'm going to go ahead and just slice this open. Alright, so opening up the box here, it looks like we have some tweezers. Looks like we have 2 screwdrivers. One is a Phillips head, and one looks like a tri-wing. We have a little wedge here to pull apart the Joy-Con. Underneath that, it looks like we have a set of screws, just in case we drop any, lose any in the installation process. We also get these fun little star caps for after we get the job done. Lastly, we have 2 Hall Sensing joysticks for Joy-Cons. So looks like there's a whole lot to these. Looks pretty much just the device and then a ribbon cable. Let's go ahead and get started. So here we have our Joy-Con that suffers from the Joycon Drift, and we have the nice green Joy-Con here. So I'm going to go ahead and flip this over. So we have that flipped over here. It looks like we have 4 tri-screws. So we're going to go ahead and get these undone. Those 4 screws out, what we're going to do is take our little wedge, feed along here, get that nice and loose. Be careful because we have a little ribbon inside here. We're going to lift, just kind of fold it over. We got this little ribbon cable here for the 2 buttons. Right here is the NFC. I just pull this up gently and move this out of our way. The battery connector here. So we just need to grab, gently pull. Enough. So now that we got the battery removed, the next thing that we need to do is take our Phillips screwdriver, and we have 3 screws. One here, here, and down here. Okay, now with those 3 removed, we're going to just kind of lift this up and fold over. Now we kind of got to go pretty close, as there's a little ribbon cable. It's kind of hard to show, but right there, a little ribbon cable, and there's not much slack for it at all. So be very careful with it, and we're almost there. The next thing that we need to do is we need to remove this screw and this screw. So this ribbon cable is locked down by this little black tab here, and what you do is you just kind of pull it down towards you, and that will unlock it. Let's go ahead and unscrew these 2 screws, disconnect the ribbon cable, okay, and remove the old Joy-Con. Okay, so here is our new Joy-Con, and what we want to do is basically just kind of reverse engineer it and put it all back together. Go ahead and screw this back down, reconnect the ribbon cable. Okay, now that that's connected, as I was getting that connected, our little bumper fell off the top here. So to get that reattached, it's easiest to start with this side. Again, that one cable doesn't give us much flexibility. There we go. Okay, start with that side down here first. That little spring fits right on that little bed there. Get that tucked. Perfect. We'll flip this back over now to get our battery connected. Now we need our 3 screws. One here, one down here, and the last one here. And if you're like me and you removed this portion for easier access and not so many parts to balance, what you want to do is actually connect this back before you put this back on, as this ribbon cable here connects right in there. And this one's accessible, but that one's a little bit more difficult. So I am actually going to take this off real quick and connect that attachment. Take our handy dandy battery. It can only go one way. The cable here should line up with that. set that down like so. We could thread this cable back to where it needs to go. And the tricky part is getting our battery connected back. This can be a bit tricky, but just take your time with it. Be patient. Alright, once we got that, we just button it back up. Get our tri-wing screws. Now it's all put back together. We push the button. The brightness all the way up. I'll turn these lights down so that's viewable, okay? And we'll go to Calibrate Control Stick. Now after installing the stick, we just had to go ahead and push the X to calibrate it, and we see we no longer have Joy-Con drift. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribe. I have moved away from Adobe Premiere and using DaVinci Resolve for all my editing, so I apologize for the choppiness, and hopefully we'll get that under control. Have a great week, everyone, and take care.